Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
To Monday. Whoa, folks, I don't believe it. Tom did some dancing there.
Nobody saw that. Just me.
That was something. That's the first time in almost, 350 episodes that you danced voluntarily. He's trying to get himself motivated because he ran or walked, 87,000 steps over the weekend?
Yeah, it was a long weekend.
How many miles is 87,000 steps? It's got to be up there.
I don't know. Because I had 42 on Saturday.
42,000.
Yeah, Liz seemed to think that was 20 miles, but I'm not positive.
That makes sense. So, Tom, I'd love to talk more about your life, but you know and I know the most important thing that we do each week is we have various days that are important. You know, the national calendar is kind enough to provide me with the link to some of the events today. We've got two big ones today. I plan to celebrate one of them, not this one. The first one is it's National Pop Goes the Weasel Day. Remember the game that spun around and Pop Goes the Weasel and out came the little...
It's so funny that they have a national day for something that probably anybody under 40 has no idea what it is.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. But that's why I come to the more important of the 2 days.
Okay.
It's National Bourbon Day. And as you know, I'm a big fan of bourbon. Not that makes me sound like I'm completely sober right now, but I like my bourbon.
You didn't start the day with a bourbon?
I did not. In fact, today
Bourbon Day, you didn't do that?
Today's a weird day. My wife is away. I was up late last night doing a project, and I stayed in bed till almost 10 of 8, which I've never done. In all the times we've done this program, this is the latest I've ever gotten up.
And it wasn't Bob's fault that we were late. Just so people know.
And I've scheduled poorly because I'm now realizing I have no plan or time for breakfast. So all that time management talk of last week...
Out the window. Didn't last the weekend.
Out the window. But I'm also doing some double timing because I have some wedding stuff at the end of this week. So I'm trying to compress everything into a couple of days. Not my wedding either, just so we're clear.
Well,
I'm happily married.
That was a wedding.
Yes. So anyway, Tom, our topic this week is stepping away. And it's probably the right time for that topic because I've talked to a couple of people in the last week or two about, vacation planning. And they weren't going to take vacations. And then their kids were out of school for one day and they were like, we need a vacation. And they were saying it to me like it was a sin to want to go on vacation. And I think we have a perception in our culture that's perpetuated by the myth of the entrepreneur who works 24/7 every single day of the week without fail, holidays and all that we've got to work. You're not building something, whether you're a leader, whether you're a team leader, whether you're a manager, whether you're an owner, you're not really building something unless you are nose to the grindstone every single minute of every single day. And I think that's a fallacy that you and I are finding more and more with the people we're working with through the Renegade Success Network, that they're trying to build something that fits whatever their lifestyle choices are. We have someone in that group who was looking to work 15 hours a week. That was his vision. He's at that age where that fit his lifestyle. And that was perfectly fine. And he was having great success once we figured out what those 15 hours a week needed to look like. And then we had another person, a woman who wanted to spend more time with her children. And so she would step away for a couple of days, have everything worked on, managed, but she would be out of the office with her kids for a couple of days. And I think that balancing, whether it's your children, whether it's your vision, whether it's what you want, that to me is what being a renegade really comes down to most of all, is the ability to carve your own path. We say that all the time. What are your thoughts, Tom?
I would agree. I mean, I think that to me, stepping away means you have the ability to do that, to make the choices that you want to make about where you're going with your organization, your business, or your life for that matter. And so there's that piece of it. That's like the bigger piece of it, I think, is how do I structure my life, my work life, the way I want it to be? So that's one piece of it. I think the other piece of it is a much more smaller, sort of micro level of, there are times in the day when we need to step away, when we have been focused for so long or stressed so much, or just really working hard on something that we need to accomplish, and being able to understand that sometimes to either complete that or to be prepared for whatever's next, we need to step back. We need to step away so that we can clear our head, so that we can then step into the next project, the next process, the next challenge that we have to face. And I think so often people feel like, they say, well, just keep pushing through. Some of these old sayings about the way things are supposed to be are really a detriment to us, because we look at that and we feel like, oh, geez, well, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to give 110%. I'm supposed to just fight through the challenges. I'm supposed to, just keep, not my nose to the grindstone. I mean, all of those things are just reinforcing things like burnout and frustration and overwhelm. And so I think that there's the two sides to stepping away. It's being able to carve your own pathway and being able to understand that there are moments that we need to set it aside, put it away, and then be ready to move on to whatever's next.
That balancing act is tricky. And if you think of where those sayings came from, they came from our industrialized world, the assembly line, that, you do the same repetitive task all day long, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Those jobs have largely disappeared. I can't think of anyone who doesn't have to think a little bit along their job. Even I've been in lumber yards and they're cutting lumber and someone's going to make a decision about, is that acceptable, or do we cut it another slice? And you would think that in this day and age that would all be computerized, but there's so much more flexibility in jobs, and there's so much more flexibility in how we perceive work. I mean, when I was a kid, you worked at the same job 30 years. You got your gold watch. They had a retirement party. Thank you, Tom. Great. I can think of 2 people that I know that have worked at the same job for that long, or it's their only job. We are much more nomadic in our careers now. And also, I think we're trying to get that family balance. We're trying to get that. I want to be able to officiate nights and weekends. I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to play in a band. All these things that it used to be, well, do that when you retire. And now I think we're getting to a place where, hey, you know what? Do it when you want. I want to bring some comments in before we go too far. Tim says 10,000 steps for me is roughly 4.2 miles, 4.25 miles. That's Tim and his legs. He's about 6'4". I was going to say that varies on how long your legs are and what your stride is. But that's a good ballpark.
And are you walking or running?
Right. Yes, correct. Michael, good morning, Michael. He says it takes a unique person to handle the balance, and it's not easy. This is why I like listening to you guys, different perspectives. Thanks. That is great to hear on a Monday morning. Thank you, Michael. Yep. Appreciate that greatly. And Tim says, stepping away is one of the reasons I take every Sunday off work. It's been a habit now for over 10 years, and it helps me in so many ways. And I deal with Tim, and he takes off Sunday, and I know if I need him on Sunday, not going to happen.
Yeah.
And we adjust. And sometimes it's time-sensitive stuff, and we make it work. And I think that's something that we also have to recognize in this stepping away, that it's acceptable to step away, and that if you've built a good system with your team with your company, you can in fact step away. If you have to be in front of the computer or on the phone 24 hours a day, every day, your process might not be the most efficient and might not be the most workable long term. It's certainly not scalable.
Well, right. And I think one of the interesting things, two things I was thinking about, one is that, I think now that people have worked from home, which is a concept that is so foreign to so many of the previous generations, that they have found the ability to, like, I have to sometimes step away because other things call, because I'm at my house. I'm not just in a spot where there aren't as many distractions. And now that they have had a taste of what that looks like, I'm not sure they're ready to go back to what it was before. And I think that's exactly what happened. People watched their parents. We watched our parents do that grind and feel like I'm going to work at whatever time. I'm not coming home until whenever. That was basically my life until I retired. You come home, have dinner. They were probably exhausted, and maybe they spent a little time with the family or did something, and then went to bed and started it all over again. And I think we watched that and we're like, I'm sure a lot of people were wishing that they had more of their parents' attention. And they also understood that that was just the life they were leading to provide for their family. And I think now we've seen that, and seen that while that provides financially for their family, it might not provide in other ways for our family, for our friends, or for ourselves, for that matter. I'm amazed at how many people at my age that I know who are now, yes, they have a job, but they are so much more interested in all the other things they do outside of their job. Like the number of people I have that started bands, people who I didn't even know really like to perform, or, they have some other side thing, like me, I officiate, or there's others who do crafts, or others who, are reenactors. All those different things that we have a passion in, we want to find an opportunity to do that. And so that work isn't the only thing that really drives us. And we're wanting to step away so that we can focus on those other things that we find value in.
And folks, if you're saying, oh, that sounds amazing, but it seems impossible, I can tell you right now, Tom and I have worked with people to get them to a place in their life, in their schedule, in their business, in their company, where they can actually have outside interests, where they can actually enjoy themselves, where they can actually see work as a part, a facet of their life, not the be all and end all of their life. And so many of us, and I'm guilty of this, feel defined by their work. And so we can work with you through the Renegade Success Network on improving that, getting you to a place where you understand that work is a facet of your life, not the facet of your life. And if you're saying, I would love to work with these guys, but I don't want to make a long-term commitment, well, guess what? We are doing our 90 Days to Find Your Renegade Way program right now. That's right. You can join us for 90 days. That's pretty much going to take you from now till about the end of summer. And in that program, we're going to help you figure out what your goals are, what's realistic. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Tom. I didn't know if you had a graphic for me. I kind of threw that at you. We're going to help you figure out what your goals should be for that 90 days, goal or goals. And then we're going to work with you to achieve that goal. There's a component of accountability because we're going to have regular discussions. There's a component of focus. And there's a part of it that's about dreaming. And that's the part I enjoy most. When the person goes, what would be really great in those 90 days is if I could do X, and they throw it out there. It always happens. I'm sure you've had this happen with you, Tom, and you're like, okay, what would X look like? No, can't. And the stories I told earlier about the couple of people that were able to build their work around them, they threw those things out like it would be really great if I could work just a couple days a week and have a couple days off. I wish I could build a business and only work at 15 hours a week. It's like, all right, there we go. Let's go. Off to the races. So if you're at a point where you're stuck, where you're saying it's just not working, or I see something better, but I can't figure out how to get there, we want to talk to you. I just want to have a discussion. Tom just wants to have a discussion. I can tell you right now, I've heard Tom do these discussions. I know how I am on these discussions. We'll talk to you and we'll give you some good advice just in that simple discussion.
Well, I'd like to, we'll ask you really good questions that'll allow you to figure out what are the solutions for you. You know,
yes.
Again, we can share our experience.
Yes. Well said. Yes. Much clearer. Thank you. Yes. My bad. It's Monday.
It was fine.
No, it wasn't. You're right. There's a difference. And we're not going to tell you what to do. And that's what Tom brings up. We're going to help you figure out what you want to do, what you feel comfortable doing. So if we might suggest something to you. Hey, have you ever done email campaigns? Oh, I hate email. I'm afraid to email. I can't do email. Okay. And we'll find something else. And it's about finding your way. And that's what Tom and I are focused on. And if that 90-day to find your Renegade Way program sounds great to you, send Tom or me a message or go to the Renegade Success Network website, which is oddly enough, Tom, renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Sorry, I was in the mood to make a pitch today.
It was a nice plug in the middle of that, which actually I think it tied in nicely. I mean, I think there are so many people who are trying to do something different. You know, they're just not happy with the status quo. And I think that's why they're a renegade. And that's why I think they're trying. And again, no matter what it is, you know, I look at, as you were talking about some of that, I got thinking about, you know, we both have our own business, a separate business that we continue to do. And we sometimes step away to do this thing that we've created because we believe so strongly in this renegade way and this finding your own pathway and understanding that there is sometimes different things that you want to do. You know, it's interesting. I think there's a lot of people who start side gigs because it's a chance for them to step away. And whether that side gig is something you really do for fun and you don't make much money on, or something that you're really passionate about, and maybe you make a lot of money or maybe you don't, or it's just an opportunity for you to be in another community. And you try to find that balance of how do I do all of these things together? And I think that becomes the challenge. And at some point you can focus, and you can also choose to do multiple things. And I think that's a lot about who and what we are, is that we want to sometimes be able to step away from whatever that main focus is. Because while that may pay for our expenses, that may drive us a little bit professionally, it might not drive us in the other ways that we need to round out our lives. And I think the hard part is figuring out how to work that all in. And I think that's the goal that we're trying to accomplish, not only with this show, but with the 90-day program and the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. It's just a way for people to find others who are looking for something different, who want to find that thing that they are passionate about and incorporate that into their business life, work life, whatever it may be.
Their full life.
Correct. I think that's what we're trying to help people see, you know, and for both of us. You know, I look at me, I never would have thought, and if I had a regular 9-to-5 job, it would be very hard to officiate and do some of the things that I've been able to do. But now that I've started my own business, I've created that pathway that allows me to do some of the work that I'm really super passionate about, which is working with nonprofits in that space, doing this work, which I'm also super passionate about, helping others figure out how to create their own pathway and do something that I like to do. And especially because it's around a great group community of people. And it's not easy all the time. And I'm not always great with my time management in it. Yet it provides for me what I really want to have as a part of my life.
Well, Tom, I think we've covered a lot of ground. Real quick, let's give people one thing.
So I guess my one thing in terms of stepping away is be clear why you're doing it, and don't be afraid to do it. You know, and again, whether that is the bigger picture, I want to find ways to step away either temporarily or permanently or partially from one thing.
Permanently.
Well, I mean, some people
some people want to step away from their full-time job and do their passion.
Correct. So I think that's okay for them to, and deciding that is hard. The other thing I think is there's the micro stepping away. of sometimes we just need to, and I'm going to apologize to the group. I missed my 2 days of posting the summer celebration images. So I apologize about that.
Gene and I are very offended.
And I'm going to say that I needed to step away for a moment because I was doing something else that I was passionate about. And so while I feel badly about that, I also understand that sometimes it happens.
It's all good. And Tom, my one thing is that it's okay to even start thinking about stepping away. And as we go through this topic all week, I would just like people to start thinking about the idea that getting away for a minute, for an hour, for a day, for a week, for 2 weeks is okay. You just have to manage things. And that's the time management component. So with that, this has been a great show because I got to steer the ship. So that was fun.
I think that's 2 days in a row. I think you steered the ship on Friday as well.
I did. Well, I'm trying to be kind to you because you had a busy weekend. So I just figured I'd run right over things.
I appreciate
it. So Tom, I'm going to let you wrap things up. Unfortunately, I've got to go. I've got an 8:30 meeting.
All right. Well, you go. I'll wrap
All
up.
right. Sounds good. Thank you.
I hope everyone enjoyed the show. If you have any thoughts about stepping away and what it means for you, or you have questions about the Find Your Renegade Way in 90 days, please put it in the comments and we'd be happy to respond. We'd love to hear your one thing about stepping away. And if you are not yet a member of our Ring of Renegades Facebook group, please join us. It is a growing community of renegades who are trying to find their own unique pathway to success. It is a closed community and it's a part of Facebook. So just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and then you just have to ask to join and tell us why you're a renegade. So I hope that we will see you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, for our next edition of today's Antidote. And here's some further information about the Ring of Renegades Facebook group.
Carving your own path is tough. You want and need a community to offer you insights and advice, share inspiration, provide support, and save you time and money. But where do you find all that? Here's the easy answer: the Ring of Renegades Facebook group, where leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners identify their next steps. Here's some of what you will find at the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Just go to ringofrenegades.com and join today. Find and accomplish those next steps.